Well, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to episode 7 of our DMC live chat. And I'm PJ from Midlife Models of the DMC, joined by my co-hosts, call them what you will. Luke from Diecast Outlaw. How are you, Luke?
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm good, mate.
Laz from Lazi-low Collectibles.
Evening,
Laz.
everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
And Mr. Martin Dare from Martin Dare Dinky Restorations. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening, everybody. How are you all?
And this week we're joined by our special guest and good friend, Michael from Gravesend Australia Diecast Salvage. Hopefully I've pronounced it right, spelt it right. We've had a bit of fun and games in the background with Michael, trying to get the chat up, actually get Michael on. It's been an event. It's been an event. So thankfully Michael's here. God bless you, Governor, for trying, keeping with it, sticking with it. We're going to do the same as we did every other week. I can't believe this is the 7th episode of this. It's shot by already.
Yes.
So we'll go around the table, see what everybody's up to, and then we'll give Michael a right grilling. Probably the safest way of putting it.
A bollock would be the correct term.
Get him to answer some questions for us, and Luke, Laz, and Martin will interject with any questions that they can think of. And then, if there's anybody in the chat who wants to ask Michael a question, by all means do so. Laz will keep an eye on the chat. Thank you, mate, for doing that. So we'll kick off with Luke. Luke, what you been up to this week, buddy, or what you got coming up?
This week, guys, I've done the Dinky toys. Oh, where are we? Ford Cortina. It's the GXL. Sorry, Corgi toy. Did you say Dinky then or Corgi? Can't remember. Yeah, Corgi toys. So that was this week's video. Next week, I've got coming. It's a little Porsche. That's in undercoat. It's ready to flat down and spray. Can't remember which. This is the. It's the 358. That one. I'm going to change the colour on this. It was silver, but I'm going to change the colour on it. And that's what I've been up to. That's me done.
Nice one, sir. That's you. Lazi-low Collectibles. He is the boss of the channel.
Yes. I just released the video yesterday about the cars I've done, Diecast restorations without the video, and video number 4. And I put those cars I've done, a mini racing mini by Matchbox, a Land Rover by Corgi Toys, a Dodge Q Fargo by Corgi Toys.
Blue signal here, boys.
And a few other cars. And I also completed a Matchbox Volkswagen Beetle, the one with the number 157 decal.
It was the Rally Beetle, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a Monte Carlo, yeah. Something like that, yes. So, yeah.
Nice one, my friend. Is that you?
That's it.
Marcy, you got your signal back? You good?
Yeah, I don't, for some reason tonight it keeps flickering in and out. Yes, this month I'm doing the Corvette Stingray, Corgi Toys. It's the Dragster one. I'm doing that one. It's in the yellow, and that's for Peter over at PB Retro Restoration for his 4th anniversary. I'm also going to do a Dinky Atlas, standard Atlas, little camper van, and I've also got in the works, hopefully it'll come off, is the Chipperville Circus Scammell crane truck. They're the 3 I've got at the moment. So yeah, so we're doing all right.
Nice one. So
yeah, that's me.
That's Mark. We've got coming up.
We got again.
A few bits of admin. We've got coming up this month on the DMC YouTube channel, Facebook channel. Sorry, not YouTube, Facebook channel. Our monthly challenge is to do any Corgi vehicle. So if you want to take part in the any Corgi vehicle challenge, all you have to do is to send us a before and after shot of your Corgi vehicle, and we put it into a gallery video on our YouTube channel and display it for the world to see. So that being said, what I'm going to pick out is, I know that some of the guys have already done this particular model, but I'm going to be doing the little bug I've committed to this now that I've shown it live on YouTube, so obviously I'm going to do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Over to our Aussie friend. Michael, before we give you a grilling, what have you been up to this week? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been playing around with some paper models, not in female, unfortunately, but if I can see this camera for dioramas, right? So that I can fit in vehicles for, so if I can get it in the camera shot, that'll be great. That's the vehicle that I'm doing for the Corgi Challenge, which is the Impala.
We like Impalas.
Now, this was all painted with nail varnish or nail polish, if you like. All of it through the airbrush. That one I finished last week. Another paper model that I did was the Hot Wheels service station. I've done them in different scales, as you can see. If I can get the camera shot,
that's fine. That's good. Yeah.
All round. This is just printed out on paper, stuck onto a cereal box, then cut out. My laser color printer is actually working rather nice now, so that's hence why I can get these nice colors out on there. I've got a few other projects like that to go. The vehicles I'm currently working on, a couple of Hudsons. I've got the Hudson Hornet. I've got most of the white on at the moment. This is going to be in 3 colours, this one. The one that I finished yesterday.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, nice bit of patina on that.
Is that like a wrap version, Michael?
Well, it's like so avocado that's been sitting in the field for a little while.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of
I like it.
Having a little giggle with everybody's giving me full praises on this, because it's actually a mispaint on it. Right, because that
makes nothing.
Oh well, so why confuse the people outside that, of our little community? So mishaps do happen. In that, I did shake up the pan quite well. It's got a white primer, a black gloss coat on it, chrome metallic paint on top of the black gloss, and then that was supposed to be a candy bronze over the top of that. The can was shook, it was heated up, and it just flooded the onto the car. Hence why we got a patina look.
Did you put it?
Yeah,
did you mix it thoroughly with the hog mixer?
I mixed it up with my mixer on the drill. Yes, I did.
I did make one. I did show you some time ago, but I did make one of them. So it's actually a great idea. I think what the idea is to get a soup can or something along them lines, put a bolt in the bottom, and then fasten it up, tighten it up, and then put the thread into a drill, and it makes a great little mixing device. So that was a great idea, Michael.
Yeah, I've got my setup still here, still set up.
Oh, he's off. He's gone.
Oh dear.
He's gone to fetch his toolkit.
I am here. I've said that
He is there.
There you go.
Good evening, Mick. I can see you in the chat, Mick. Bless you.
Bye, mate.
Bye, mate.
Mix here, yeah.
There we go. So there is the hog mixer. Patented it by himself there.
No, not painted, but not painting it by me. I knocked it off from somebody else.
Not.
It looks like one then drill through a safe with, doesn't it?
There's no telling what uses it's had before.
Michael, that patina one you've done, is it a video for that?
It will. It is coming. It's so because it's going because it's a Hudson, and that's a Hudson as well. So they're both being done at the same time. But you're not going to see the painting part of it.
Right.
Because that was a cock up. So
it looks just like the picture you put up though, Michael. It's weird. It's mad how that's turned out like that.
One of the best potatoes I've ever seen. Just
because like when I went through Google Images and looking for inspiration for colours, because even though I say on my channel that I'm a restorer, it's more, I do more custom paints and crappy custom paints than anything else. So because there's so many channels that do the restore back to originals, so I'll mix it up. So and it does get a little bit more interest to it's a red car, let's paint it red again. It's
don't go down that route.
I learnt my lesson on the Audi, but hey, I've got a Corgi Toys Triumph Acclaim in red. No, that was only once sprayed red. So using the same red paint that I used on that Audi. and that was 18 months ago. So
there's a bit of a story behind this, but we'll probably go into it at a later date.
We will. Otherwise, there'll be a 4-hour stint on here.
We'll be here for a while. Yeah. So let's hit these questions then and see what you've got. So, question 1. What inspired you to become a diecast restorer, and how did you develop your skills in this niche?
Well, it sort of came about of firstly boredom, which was of something to do. But then again, I've been painting cars for for toy cars from about 50 odd years ago, from when I was about 10. But like as kids, we used to scratch up our cars and repaint them, and then I used to smash them up with a hammer, because I used to like sort of car crashes and wrecking yards. And then and then one day when I had a computer shop, I thought, I want to play with some toys. So I bought some toy cars, and I stripped them, repainted them, and put them away. And I thought, we'll keep going with this. And then, like with a lot of people, COVID came. We couldn't go anywhere, and we all, we saw Marty's Matchbox makeovers, and we can do that. And then I started off with using rattle cans to paint, and everybody was sort of saying, you should go with an airbrush. And then I looked at the cost of an airbrush system, and I thought, no, I'm not going down that route. With the compressor, the airbrush, there was roughly about 450 Australian dollars. With a 1 litre tank on the compressor.
Yeah.
When I bought a compressor which died the other day, with a 60 litre tank cost $200, and I couldn't get any fittings for an airbrush, so I bought one of those battery powered airbrushes, and that's how I started using the airbrush. Now I was able to purchase the airbrush system that a lot of people use for about $150 odd. So I'm slowly going over that way. And so it's got to, so I'm doing a mixture now with using that type of airbrush, the battery airbrush, and rattle pen, depending on the casting. What was the question again?
What inspired you to become a restorer?
Yeah.
And how did you develop your skills?
Well, it's from trial and error in the development of skills. Trial and error.
Yes,
the big improvement that I've done in my skills is making parts. They're not perfect, but it's the satisfaction of creating something or giving a toy a new life, where it sits on a shelf, for your own enjoyment. Making the videos, yes, it's a record of what I'm doing or how I did it, and maybe inspire somebody else out in the community to give it a go. Some castings are more difficult than others. And sometimes when you think it's going to be an easy casting to do, it turns out to be the most difficult.
Yes,
and the ones with the most difficult could be the easiest.
Yeah.
See, like, I know myself that I'll be scared to try and do the James Bond BB5, the gold cordial one.
Because question 2 is coming up. That might let me ask you question 2. And then it'll kind of feed into what I think you're going to say. Can you share some of the most challenging restoration projects you've worked on, and how you overcame the difficulties, or what you might think would be a difficult project? So that kind of leads into what you're saying.
It does. I need to bring a vehicle over, as in challenge. I do apologise for that.
Evening. Yes, he's here.
Evening, playoffs.
This is a Techno Kirk 143 scale Mercedes 0302 bus. It has it has a number of things that open up on it.
Yeah.
All the bays open up. The back engine opens up. Now this collapses when you pull it apart to roughly about 75 or 105 pieces, and there's no screws. There's no screws in that one. I do have another. I think Martin's still has 1 or 2 of these that need to come to Australia. Thank you very much, Martin, for what you're doing for me to make it to get there.
No worries, mate. You're more than welcome.
This Senise, that's SENISE GMC truck. Again, this is on my channel. The challenge was making the doors, because you can't get parts for these. You know, like model supplies doesn't do them. So I'm just trying to think. There's only one door that was on here. Yeah, there was only one door, so I made 2 copies, and that one has turned out very nice. That was my 2 real challenges. The bus was the challenge of putting it all back together, and the challenge was trying to make a door opposite to the others. That was the challenge on that one, and the one that's given me the most grief is the one that we just talked about a moment ago, and that was a Matchbox Super King.
Without going into the depths of it, we'll say it was an Audi Quattro. So
But that's all right. I'm over it. It's just that some people in the DMC community just like to bring the subject matter up every now and again. They want to teach me a lesson.
Right, I'm going to ask a question through, then we'll see if any of the boys have got a question that they've thought of. Question 3, what types of diecast models do you specialise in restoring? And do you have a favourite era or brand you enjoy working with?
Well, I prefer the 143 or 148 scale, depending on so which scale you're looking at. Mainly because so our eyes aren't getting younger. I do have coming up 164 scales. This I hope to be starting in the next couple of weeks. This is a Tomica ambulance, Toyota Hiace. So I'll work in those sort of scales, or even the larger one. Is it a one? I don't know what scale these Parisians are. They're larger than a 143.
Yeah,
32, aren't they? Them ones, I think.
Yeah. All right. So that's the sort of scale that I look at. As to era, the style of cars that I grew up with, because I was born in 1960. So the road cars up to so the early 1980s. There'll be Matchbox, Corgi, Dinky. Since doing the YouTube channel, there's so many other brands that I've never heard of out there. It's all like Majorette is. I've got a few Majorettes to do. They'll keep Laz happy. Gamnicor Sabra or Kragstein, which is an Israeli manufacturer. Siku I've got. Schuko I've got. They're German. Gamma, that's German. There's a few Polystills. They're Italian. I've done a Guzval, which is Spanish. Again, thanks to Martin, there's a few Spanish vehicles that will eventually come to Australia. One of them's is the stretcher fetcher that Matchbox has got, but this one's made by a Spanish company. So Mira, MIRA is
Mira. Mira, yes.
But so that's sort of where I'm at. In Matchbox, the small Matchbox, the 164 sort of scale, I'll go up to where they went to super fast, the second version. You had the skinny wheels, which is the first version of super fast. Then they came with a wider super fast wheel. But when they started going to the sort of the futuristic stage, and they nommeled the wheel arches to fit in the bigger wheels, that's when I lost interest in Matchbox. So anything prior to 82 in Matchbox, but in the larger scales, I'm fairly open.
Okay, good stuff. Martin, Luke, Laz.
There's a question. Play Ups says, Michael, how about Joel's? Joel's, Joals.
Yes, so I've got a cement mixer, which is looks pretty much exactly the same as the Dinky version of the cement mixer. The was it the comma or something like that, Martin? So so they look exactly. So they look like it's the same casting. I've got 1, 2, 3 Mercedes 230 SLs from Joel, which are exactly the same casting as the Techno Kirk Mercedes 230 SLs as well.
I think it'd be fair to say you're quite ahead of the rest of us in numbers of vehicles that you've got in your collection. It's almost like if the DMC had a museum, you'd go round Michael's house because he's pretty much got one of, if not two or three of most vehicles.
Oh no, I wouldn't say most vehicles. I do have a lot of vehicles. I did try a couple of years ago, start a spreadsheet on the 10, 15 litre plastic containers of cars. So I imagine there's sort of about 2,500 cars in it, of varying scales. Yes, there are multiples of the same castings. So like I'll get the camera on this. I have 5 of these. It started off with 1. It got pregnant, and we got another 4. It just it just happens. But then again, so this Dinky, this is the only one that I've got of it. Some cars,
right.
It just there are just some castings that so you like and some don't. So this will keep Martin happy. There's one. I've got 3 Corgi Jags.
Yeah, nice.
Here.
Nice.
I've got a few other, the slightly larger scale Corgi Jags that Kev likes to turn into banger races.
Oh yeah,
I've got a couple of the metallic red Dinky. No, that's Rolls Royce. I'm thinking of.
Velocity. You got some velocities, didn't you, Michael?
Yes. Yeah. There's a. Yeah, which you're still sitting on. Well, you've had that there for what, 6 to 8 months, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had it a while. It's been sat here for a while. Yeah.
No, because
I've restored it for you now, Michael. It's all restored, mate.
Because I'm just sort of thinking, we're coming up to me being full time back at Gravesend for 7 months now, and and I bought it before I came back up here in December. But I went through my eBay listing, my purchases of eBay. They go back to 2018 when I started collecting them again, more often down in Sydney. We're coming up to 3 years on the YouTube channel. So yeah.
Yep. Okay, so question 4: how do you approach the restoration process from initial assessment to the final touches, ensuring accuracy and quality? But I think you've kind of you're kind of like me to a certain extent, where we're not overly. We don't mind going from the norm, changing from the norm, and doing something a little bit different, whether it be a colour or an embellishment or whatever that may be.
Well, so this year, in the last 2 years, it's been I'll pick up a casting, I'll look at it, and I go, what colour paints have I got? And so if it's got a broken A pillar or it's missing something on it, if it's missing something, so that's why sometimes I've got more than one casting, because I prefer to have another vehicle and make the castings than purchase a part. Because when I started doing this hobby, I didn't know about the likes of Steve Flowers from Model Supplies, Recovered Toy, which is supposedly in Australia, but I think from what I've seen, they're just stuff that Steve Flowers does, because I've had two parts come from one of each, and that they had the same tooling marks in them, as in where the fault was. So I think they're just
Right,
resellers of these flowers. And a lot of times it's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think I can give you an example. On this Dinky, if I can see myself, on this Dinky police van, the rear door, I'm just trying to focus on the camera. That's a reproduction door, came from Steve Flowers. It was only a couple of pounds, which is $4 Australian dollars. It cost $22 or £11 to have it sent to Australia. All I did was do a test fit on it into the back of the casting, and where did it snap? Right across there, just like the original door. So that's when I thought, even though it's a white metal, so it's probably pewter or something like that. So I was very disappointed and went back down the buy a donor vehicle track. But then I thought, it's a shame I'm fixing up one car. What am I going to do with the parts that are stripped off it? It's a shame. So this year, if I have multiples of the same cars, I'll use these 3 Jags, for example. Get the camera right, boy. Is that this black and white one? So somebody's given it an idea, so we'll try and recreate what this person tried to do. So we'll turn it black and white. This blue one has the most paint on it, and the glass is intact. It has all the jeweled lights. So a few paint chips on it. Like I say, the technical difficulties that we had earlier today, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm having troubles trying to focus on this camera. So I'll keep that as it is. This one here, that's missing all its boots. Somebody shot out the back window, right? So this one too, I'll make my own custom on it, where I'll go on to Google Images, look for something a little bit different in color, and if I can replicate the color, I'll do that. I'll make my own rubber tires, and we'll go from there.
Nice one. Which kind of feeds into the next one. Are there specific tools or techniques that you find particularly effective or innovative in the diecast restoration field?
It comes from different castings to fix need different things. To make parts, cotter pins or split pins, they're in various thicknesses and sizes. They're handy. Pot rivets, again, different sizes, made for axles. The needles, sewing needles, or sewing pins, they're handy for axles or making suspension. For me, liquid silicon rubber or silicon putty that comes in these pots. A handy tool, the UV resin can be good for making repairs on screens.
Yep.
That there is just made from the UV clear resin. If you want a temporary fix for a quick fix until you make a clear resin unit yourself, or you go down the vacuum forming route. Speaking of which, I have got a bid on a a vacuum former, fingers crossed. It's roughly about it's at auction under $600 at the moment, but if you buy it brand new, it's close to $2,500 to $3,500. I'm hoping to get it for under $1,000.
Wow, what size is that then?
It's hang on, where's my? I've turned the other machine off, but I'll turn the tablet back on again. I'll show it to you when it comes up. I'm hoping to catch up with Pete, or PB Pete, from PB Restorations next week, because we in New South Wales we have the King's birthday public holiday on the Monday, but I'm also going to Queensland to see my father, which I haven't seen since before COVID. He turns 90 on the 12th, so it's a double thing. I hope to be talking with Pete regarding 3D printing and check out his resin 3D printer, because I'm itching to get onto that. It's
become a hot topic again, the 3D printing amongst our little community again, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Because because once that, it's not only to sort of make parts, it's play around to make other figures for dioramas and things like that. Because I've been interested in 3D printing for quite some time. When the first home type 3D printers came out, at that time they were roughly about $7,500, and I thought, no, that's a little bit rich.
Yeah.
The Anycubic 3D printer, the resin 3D printer that I'm looking at with the washer system, it's the same one that the link that I sent to Luke.
Yeah.
It's 370 Australian dollars. So that's 150, about 180, 190 pounds.
Michael, is it the 8K, that one? Is it, or is it the? I was having a look before. They do an 8K and a 14K.
The one that now that I'm up and running on there, I'll just go into. My apologies for holding you guys up there. I've got to go to bookmarks. Wrong one, Michael. Wrong one. See, like a bloke, we can't do two things at the same time. We can only do one thing. That's why we've got to change our hands at 50. All right. The Anycubic monotone mono 2 resin. It's a 4K. Right, but the 3D printer itself has been updated. It's gone from it was originally a 2K. It's a 4K system. The one that's looking at. Right. Now I've got this screen up, I can go back to Martin's question as to what size vacuum former. Let's see if I can get the. There we go. Because there's a 3D liquidation sale happening in Sydney at the moment.
Right.
And there was an Anycubic resin printer and washer unit there, and it's at $12. But it's used. It's an next demo. It was in a farm. I don't know whether you can see that.
All right.
Right. It's double the size of what those dental vacuum formers.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
This is a proper desktop former, and I did put it into the DMC Facebook page about 18 months ago. And at that time they were I think about $7.5 grand.
Yeah, we'd need to know the specific model because there's about 12 versions of the Anycubic.
This vacuum former is called a vacuum form DT number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a VAPUFORM DT2. Yeah. All right. The thing that you need to watch out for, and I almost got caught by it from AliExpress. They had them on there for 132 Australian dollars. I looked at it. I was about to hit the buy now button on it until I read the review, and it was only for the plastic sheets that you make your screens out of. For different sheets. Yeah. So I've just got to arrange for somebody down in Sydney to, if I win the auction, to pick it up from the warehouse and take it to my landlady's that I had down in Sydney, her place, so that one stage next time I go down to Sydney, I can go and pick it up. On that, sort of other handy tools of files, needles, hammers, little anvils for axle ends. Let's see, disinfectant, the self-shining floor polish, handy tools, white pens, paint pens. There's a whole raft of things, but I'm always looking when I go out shopping, whether it be a hardware store, a variety store, a haberdashery, always looking, how can I use this? How can I use that? So it's forever expanding. And
so that kind of leads into question 6, I guess. How do you source replacement parts for vintage or rare die-cast models? But you've already said you actually mould quite a few pieces. And what challenges do you face in finding authentic components?
Well, the challenge in there is that while we criticise the likes of Steve Flowers, it's still very much appreciated that he's out there, right? In that sometimes a casting you can't get a donor vehicle, not at a reasonable price, right? Because even though sort of the rubbish vehicle that you've got, I'm not saying that this Dinky is a rubbish vehicle, but let's say it had opening doors. To get, I might have paid £10, £15 for that vehicle, but to get a half reasonable one that might have chipped paint on it, you might be looking at sort of £70 or £80, which makes it so you're not going to spend that type of money, because at this stage, even though what I do is I keep the cars for myself. I don't sell them, right? They're not that good. I'm not sort of if my skills were like that of Luke, Martin, Laz, even poor restorer, then I would go out and sort of sell them, right? Restore them, sell them, make a little bit of money on it, maybe just sort of break even. That's the thing. But this is for me, this is a hobby. It's not a business. It's a hobby. If I go down the track like some people have, if I can make the parts that nobody else makes out of the 3D resin, we'll see what's out there. To make it niche. Like, Luke's always looking for 143 scale wheels.
Yeah,
right? There are a few places. Most of the 3D printed wheels out there are for 164 scale, or they'll be for the 118, 125 scale out there, but not for the 143, 148 scale. Even though that if you're going into 3D printing, you can rescale those of the 118 down to a 143 or 164 up to a 143. But if somebody's already doing it out there, again, I know I'm waffling on a little bit, but it's like the discussion that when we have our Friday night taverners meetings, or when we talk about 3D printing, as PJ said earlier, it's a thing that crops up that we try and talk about every now and again. 3D printing is another avenue to be explored.
definitely.
Right, and it's another technique that you've got to learn about. Some people will pick it up easier, some people won't, and it comes down to cost. Is it worth getting? How often are you going to use it? If you're interested, we'll get a 3D printer. You do one print and it fails, and then people will say, "Oh, that's rubbish. I spent so much money. That was a waste of time." But if you get creative with it, like some people are into Gasland stuff or Mad Max stuff, they can make all sorts of stuff to attach to their vehicles. I'm not into that part of it. I'm at the moment more interested in making these sort of parts, or accessories like figures to go with the vehicles, or interiors. I think, like Luke, you had that Ziffer the other day, where you bought the eyebrows and the
interior one, yeah. See, if you got that 3D printer, you can do all stuff like that. I want to make my own wheels, also boot spoilers, front splitters, and make them like a full body kit. You could do. I know you've got to design it. I understand that'll take some getting your head around. But I think once you've done it, it'll be well worth it, and I think you get a lot of satisfaction out of it as well.
Just bring Martin in for a second. You raise your finger, Martin.
Yeah. I was just going to say to Michael, do you think because this 3D printing is taken off by individuals doing it themselves for themselves, and there's also quite a few people who are doing 3D printing and passing them on or selling them or trading them for friends, family, and like on Facebook pages and stuff like this, and there's quite a few out there for sale, not necessarily branded parts like the Corgi or Dinky, but like Luke said, spoilers, doors, stuff like this. Do you think in the future the market is going to become flooded with all these 3D printed parts? You know what I mean? There's a danger of being so many parts out there because people are printing. Because when you get one, you want to make use of it. You want to get value for money. So if it's sitting in there, you think, well, I've done what I want to do. Every car that you buy, every vehicle you buy, you don't always have to make a part for it. You've got a machine sitting on your shelf which costs you money, so you're going to want to use that. The reason I'm saying, because of the guy I was speaking to, his cousin, the young lad, he's just 3D printing, and he's been messing about with 3D printing. He's done all the things what you can you would do with a 3D printer that you, and he's basically got a bit bored with it. He wants something to do. And he was saying to my friend, he said, I've got this 3D printer and I really, really want to print something. But so he's sat in there doing nothing basically, and until he's waiting for something to come along. But there's only so many things that you can do. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I certainly do. The idea for me to get the 3D printer, it's not just to make, parts for die-cast vehicles, right? That's part of it. It's making some stuff for dioramas, like so some people are interested in the stuff from 3D Bot Maker, making the figurines for that. There's that part of it, making buildings for train layouts, Shapeways, so you can send files off to Shapeways, because they were one of the early people that used to do 3D printing for model train layouts. But there's all sorts of other things that you can do. You can make little stands. You can sell them at markets. There's a whole variety of different things. It all depends on your imagination. Right?
I would say
for me, it's not limited to just for model toy cars. It's open world. Sorry, Martin.
No, it's all right. No. Something just come into my head, popped into my head then. With communities like the DMC and some Facebook communities, we could, or maybe somebody could think about it, will be to one of us who's got the skills to operate or program a 3D printer would then, how can I say, share it, so that you got, like, say you got 5 or 6 people or even 10 people, and one guy, who's willing to do the printing, and they all sort of pay a certain amount for the upkeep of the machine and the time. You see what I mean? Yeah. So it would help with the community.
Building parts.
Say if somebody's got the spare time, somebody maybe who's retired, or something like that, who's got time on their hands, is willing to do it, because sometimes you can set your printers up and let them run for maybe 5-6 hours, whatever it is. You could have maybe half a dozen people in a community. Say, for instance, like example we got here now. If one of us had a 3D printer, I wanted a couple of doors, a seat back, and Michael wanted this, and Luke wanted a couple of wheels. You know what I'm saying? And then that would make use of the printer. Plus, if you all chipped in a little bit, that will keep the upkeep of the printer and buying the materials.
Yeah.
It's just a thought that looking forward in the future, rather than buying all of us individually buying a 3D printer, you know what I mean, at expense and use, then one of us is willing to do it. You know what I'm saying?
That comes down to the individual. You've got to ask yourself, is it worth putting out that expense, right? It depends on how you're approaching why you're going to buy that item, right? The vacuum format that I'm looking at, okay, I'm looking at, so if I do win it, I know I'm going to be paying somewhere between $500 and I'd say $900 for it. So that's, so that's roughly about £450. But that's not bad for a second-hand machine that normally costs over $2,500. For me, it's worth it, because a lot of the vehicles that I get have busted windscreens, or like a lot of the Dinky toys, like these ones. Don't have windscreens. Right, so there's a possibility. So that becomes a niche market, in that making screens for the vehicles that don't have them, if somebody wants to customize that vehicle. But with that vacuum format,
there's a little bit more to it than that, because it's not just the materials. I mean, when I was doing the old the old rubber duck from the convoy truck. Now,
Yeah.
I was seeing these being sold on eBay for £6, unpainted and unworked. In other words, they're not been sanded down. This is done in PLA as opposed to resin. But you've got to bear in mind, you've got when you're talking about a person doing it, you're talking about the electrical costs, the cost of the materials, the PLA, which isn't cheap. It's something like, last time I looked at, something like £20 a reel. Your postage, your packaging, all of a sudden that adds to, does it then make that a viable option, or you just go and buy one? It's just
that's going to be that's going to be the argument, isn't it? That's going to be the argument. Yeah. Shall we, shan't we? Shall we, shan't we? At the end of the day, it's individual choice, isn't it? But
it's how you're going to use. It's going to be how you're going to use it. Is it worthwhile for yourself? If it's going to be an item that it's a nice to have. Oh, you want the 3D printer? You're only going to print one or two items. Don't get it. It's not value for money in that sense. Right?
Well, if I'd have to sell. Let's see. If I buy a standard 3D printer, you're looking at £300. I'd have to sell 100 of these at £3 a shot just to pay for the printer. It's and where's the demand? How many people want a rubber duck that used to sit on a lorry from 19, whenever it was, that film?
Well, see that.
But just going back on what you're saying about
that's when you're going to need somebody in marketing that's got the gift of the gab, that can, a used car salesman is what you need in that case, that who can sell the product for you, so that instead of making that it costs you £3, now it's going to cost you £10, right? You're going to make sure that the car salesman is going to sell it at £50 so that you can make a profit.
I think what you need to recognise or identify is probably a better way of putting it, is the top 50 products that we as die-cast restorers would need. So you're talking about 143 scale wheels, 164 scale wheels, the little plastic hook on the back of a Matchbox pickup crane. These kind of obvious things that aerials is a belter. Like if you do the 1966 Batmobile, aerials, flutes, things like that. But so that's what you've got to identify, because if you just do that, like you've just said, Michael, earlier on, you've got one version of one vehicle. Well, that's all right, but what's the point in anybody buying a printer just to do one aerial for that one car? It's got to be a multiple of something, of that item.
Again, it comes down to the individual.
Yeah.
Right, as to how you're going to use that item, whether it be a 3D printer, a vacuum former, and things like that. See, for me, it's worthwhile, because I know that I'm going to be playing with those items, not just for this hobby. It's also for other things, because the wife has got a cricket machine where she can make all sorts of displays and etchings that can be put onto glassware, so that when you can go to markets or boot sales or whatever you like to call them these days. Because Gravesend is next to Warialda. Warialda is a bit of a tourist destination. We get tourists coming in, or caravanners that come through. They want to buy knickknacks. That's where the 3D printer and the vacuum former comes in for that sort of stuff, to make little other knickknacks, something outside the die-cast hobby. Then there's sort of the slot cars, whether it be Scale Electrics or AFX. because the AFX, or what they call it these days, is the HO racing, is coming back into popularity. So I used to like doing the slot car racing back in the 70s and 80s, which had the large scale electric. We used to have arcades full of slot car tracks, slot cars. With the vacuum former, you can make the body shells for that. The guy from Murder Valley Raceway, he's in Queensland. He makes castings of Matchbox cars and turns them into slot cars.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different avenues you can go down with that, but again, that's for me. See, for the likes of Martin, I'm only sort of visualizing. It's not value for Martin because, as he says, he may only use it for one item. It's not valued to him to buy a 3D printer.
I can see it making more sense to you from a financial point of view.
It is cheaper to buy it off somebody to take it off. About 12 months ago, roughly about 12 months ago, I did post in the DMC Facebook group page. There was a fella that started making 3D parts for Matchbox cars. He has started selling them on eBay, right? And if you go to his Facebook page, because he created his Facebook page, I think it's called Cole's Matchbox Parts or something like that. And he does give a discount if you go through his Facebook as opposed to eBay. And so I think Shane Hollyard's bought some stuff off him. Like he does a good print of the sight hut, that goes on the back of the blue Leyland Matchbox car, because the sight hut is usually always missing. He's made parts for the Matchbox garage, or the fire station, I should say, not garage, the fire station. He does the bullets for the Batmobiles, all of that he does. Right, but he uses a PLA printer, 3D printer on that. Like it's horses for courses.
Types of printers, it's horses for courses.
It's again, it depends on where you're seeing the hobby going. What is this in this hobby? There's no right way. There's no wrong way of doing things. We all sort of get creative in our own way, and we have our own sort of little niches. So I'm in awe of the paint jobs that Luke does. Right. Martin, so he uses a airbrush. Martin, he gets fantastic results using an aerosol can. So does Luke. So do you, PJ. All right. I think sort of I'm more into experimentation. So I want try things.
You are the Caractacus Potts of the DMC. I will give you that. There's no
that's why we call you Professor Mike.
Oh, yeah.
People call me other names, and I'll go, yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah,
All right, let's push along with these.
Some people give me signals like this, so that's all right as well. It's all fun and games. The whole idea of the hobby is to enjoy yourself with it. Now,
absolutely.
Right. There are sometimes you'll have disappointments, right? But in the majority, you'll be happy with what you've created. So if you're going to try and turn it into a business, look at it as a long run. Get the experience down the track for the long, the long haul of it. So like I'll be the first person to say that I'm a hack. Right? Where, you know, so I've looked back at my past videos and I've said, oh, gee, that's crap. But I've also come a long way. And the big thing is, if you're in the hobby, take your time with it. Like Martin, it takes you at least a week for you to create what you create.
Yeah,
right? From start to finish, it's a week or 2 weeks before you have the finished product.
Yeah.
Right? Until I came to Gravesend, that I wasn't doing that. It's done and dusted in 3 days from start to finish, and you see that in the work that I do. All right. Now, this Hudson here, the one that had this failed paint, well, I'll call it a failed paint, but everybody seems to love it, right? Yes, that's been a week. But there are others. Just bear with me. I know I'm waffling on.
No new comments. 3 people watching.
Yeah, with
Excuse me, mate, gentlemen. Just gonna nip the ladies' room.
that was Luke.
But there are others that I've done in that short amount of time that have come out fantastic.
That's a nice Porsche.
Right. This Dinky.
Just pull back.
Trying to find the camera on this little camera. The MG, beautiful. All right. There's Corgi Toys. Oxford. All right. Came out beautiful. This Corgi, which I actually did a restoration on, did my own printing of it. The Volvo Saints car, beautiful. All right. Again, they were all turned around in 3 days. So, but there are others that's, so are no better than this one that I haven't started. All right. So, it again comes down to what type of commitment you want to do with the hobby, and are you going to keep it as a hobby, or are you looking into making money out of it by turning it into a business? And I think we're sort of straight off topic. It was, we were talking about equipment. The 3D printer and the vacuum former is value to me because I see different paths for it, not just in here. For other people, it is cheaper and more economical to buy the part. But if you're if you're buying the part, be prepared to put a fair amount of time and effort into making the item fit. Where, like when I do, sorry for straying away from the screen. On the other ones, like I've made out of resin the boot lid and the bonnets for the Dinky Holden, the Australian Holden. The white metal parts from Steve Flowers, you'll be spending at least 2.5 to 3 hours filing on it and smoothing it out just to make the thing fit.
Yes, correct.
All right. So what I've done is, so I had an original part, made a silicone mold for it, and made it out of resin. So not all the molds. I might have to make 2. Sometimes I've had to make 3 molds of the same part because either an air bubble got in when I was using the liquid silicone. I've had an air bubble go in, or it's gone underneath the well, it's gone somewhere where it should not have gone. Or the way that I positioned the original part wasn't conducive. That's a big word at 6 o'clock in the morning Australian time to make the part. So you got to think about how you're going to make that mold for that part you're going to make if you're doing the silicon stuff. Next.
Right. Question 7. Can you share any memorable stories or experiences from your time as a restorer, perhaps involving particularly something unique or a sentimental project?
A lot of the castings to me, in the Matchbox 1 to 75 series original wheels and the early Superfast are sort of sentimental to me because that's what I played with when I was from a 6-year-old to a 15-year-old before, sort of the two-legged variety with long hair, female persuasion got, sort of took over the interest.
Steady now.
I'm keeping it clean. But in those days, it was all about the imagination to how you played with the toy. It was the imagination. I'm not into Hot Wheels as such. The only Hot Wheels that I would be really interested in would be the early Hot Wheels, what people might call the Sweet 16 or Red Lines. I had the Red Baron, I had the VW Beetle. I think I had about 4 or 5. I had the T-Bird. I had about 4 or 5, and they would be the ones that I would like to sort of eventually get back. The Hot Wheels today, I buy mainly for the wheels, and if I buy the Shaw 30 plus silicon, liquid silicon, then so the castings I would melt down and try making them out of the white metal as opposed to resin. And it goes back to what I'm the experimenter. I'm the professor.
Okay.
That type of thing. All my cars are favourites. What I have in the I can't lift the camera up that high. Behind me, I have a cabinet that has the cars that I've played with in doing customizing. I think I do more customizations than restoring. I just give them a new life. I do have a few cars I've done nothing with. I just bought them because they look nice. But I'm not going to touch them. But they'll go on in a different cabinet at one stage. Even though I'm here at Gravesend, this is only a middle stage. We are, so sometime in the next, I don't know. I'd say in the next 5 years, we'll be moving from Gravesend into Warialda, where I will be able to do my final setup, where I'll have shelves that run along the wall. The room size is what 10, 12, about 15 feet, if not longer, because when you look at in a lounge room, and you'll have 10 tiers, and the shelf depth is going to be about 1/2 metre. You can put a diorama on the shelf, and you can have you can have a car yard display, a salvage yard display.
You're showing off now. You're showing off now, Michael.
I do have some carriages from a train set, so I can put a little train diorama up, to show the scale between cars and trains. With some cars, because I did a smash, an accident diorama when I was with the State Emergency Service, because we were a road crash rescue unit. I did a diorama with a smashed up truck, cars, and the rescuers, because we were cutting up, getting a trapped person out of a vehicle. I can put that display back up again. Again, it's the hobby can go into a whole lot of different ways.
Okay, let's rattle through these last three.
Yeah, we've been here an hour and 15 minutes.
Question 8. In your opinion, what sets apart a well-executed restoration?
They're not mine. They're not my restorations. Look, I like them all, right? I like the others here. We watch a lot of YouTube videos, right? The ones that I regularly watch are Martin D, Craport Nick, Luke, Laz. I'm sorry, I don't watch yours as much, because so it's look. I'm not criticising in that I don't watch his as much, because there's been a lot of unboxings. As much as I like unboxings, the Paul Restorer is one that I'll watch intensely. I'll watch his from start to finish. I might watch it 2 or 3 times, because from Paul Restorer, that's where I get a lot of my ideas from. And one of my ideas that I got from Paul Restorer was he made a machine to make a end for the axle for the super fast vehicles or Hot Wheels, where he's made his own spot welder. I tried to replicate that by getting parts. I went to a hobby shop, and the fella in there said, "Oh, what you need is probably a jewelry spot welder." I brought that to the Diecast Modelers Community Facebook page, and then Johan from Diecast Belgian Diecast Restorations, he's taken off with it. He has it quite often in his videos. So that was something that was an idea that I got from Paul Restorer. I got an idea of something different as opposed to a homemade thing that you can buy commercially, and somebody else was able to take off from that. We all get inspiration from each other.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I was using the caustic soda for stripping, right? I did what everybody else does: put the hot water in, and then put the caustic soda in, and 90% of the time it overflowed, right? Then I thought, how can I? So that's a little bit dangerous. How about we put the caustic soda in first, and then pour the hot water in afterwards? And you can control it a little bit better in that sense. And I've now seen that Paul Restorer does that quite often. So I don't know, is that he got that idea from me because he does comment on my videos quite often, or has somebody else, sort of that type of thing. Right? The whole idea why we put our YouTube videos out there is to share what we do.
Absolutely.
Right. And I mentioned it earlier, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. Right? And then going into when we disassemble our vehicles, a lot of people use drills. Right? They'll start off with a small drill, then they move on to a larger one, where I'll use the burr tool on the Dremel machine. And the idea for that is, one is that you don't need to use a punch to get a center, and I don't often screw my bases together because I make the end of the post flush, where again we'll go back to this Hudson here. So that's glued back in, but I didn't have to use the glue. It will click back into place. It's just enough on that shoulder, on that post head, that it will click into place. This corgi, the same thing. It's just clicked into place. It's no glue holding that together. That's just the base and that little bit of a head that's on that post. Again, it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
Some people like to drill. Some people like to put the rivet the rivet back in, drill it out, put a rivet in. It's horses for courses. It's what you feel comfortable with.
Okay, so 2 to go. How do you stay updated on the latest trends and techniques? Materials. I mean, this is kind of stuff that we go through on a Friday night, isn't it, when we share ideas and that kind of thing. So how do you stay updated on the latest trends, techniques, and materials in diecast restoration? And are there any ongoing challenges that you face?
It's always an ongoing challenge. It all comes down to your imagination and what you see. I mentioned earlier, haberdashery store. You look at, so using the sewing needles or sewing pins, the dressmaker's pins. You're using them for axle, or using them for suspension, using hair pins for suspension, using nail varnish as a paint, to paint a car of a particular colour, because, so are you going to spend $18 on a 30ml bottle of paint, or $25 on a rattle can paint, when the nail varnish is $2, and you get the same result, if you so got an aerosol can. It comes down to your imagination as to other things new. Again, looking at other people's channels. Right, there's a few things that Martin has done that I've picked up on. So that's a nice idea. So I do it a lot on mine, is using a file to go around the drip trains. So around the edges of the casting, smooth out the window.
Casting lines, yeah.
Casting lines, yes. Thank you. That was sort of, he mentioned that, I think the first time when he did a bus, I think it was the BOAC bus. I think Martin, you mentioned that in that video. See that, the little things from different people. So that, so if they're willing to show what they do. Again, I'll say Paul Restorer. He shows everything pretty much what he does. In the early days, after watching Marty from Marty's Matchbox Makeovers, I used to watch Time Rider. Paul from Fat Boy Productions, Rob from Matchbox Garage, Danny from Diecast Disasters, Jason from I've forgotten his channel name. It's all a whole host, but a lot of them, for instance, Lee from Time Rider, Wee Little Cars. His videos, like mine at the start, were long, where my videos used to be anything from an hour plus. So if I have shortened them down, they're now so roughly about half an hour on average these days. But he's got them down now to about 10 minutes, and a lot of it is in time lapse, or he doesn't show the procedure anymore. Matchbox Mark, he'll explain what he's going to do, but he doesn't show it. I'll watch his channel every so often, only if the title of the casting interests me, whether it's a 1 to 75 matchbox, I'll watch it. But a lot of it, it's, here's the casting, we'll catch you in a moment, it's the next scene. I know that, so these days at the moment, because the compressor on my sandblaster has, it's 15 years old, and it's been standing doing nothing for 12 of those years. I think the things that make the air compressors or the rings, the seals have gone on it. It does build up pressure, but as soon as you press the gun for the sandblaster, it sucks up the sand up a certain distance, then I lose all pressure. So I've got to get a new air compressor because I like the sand blasting or soda blasting, because I can't use the caustic soda up here because we're on a septic system, and the septic needs
Oops. Is the internet gone there?
Missed him there.
Is froze. Okay, we'll see if he comes back. With Martin's, it must be around toast at Dare's house. It's usually around this time. Martin has his couple of rounds. I see that we've got Millie in the chat. We've got some. Yeah, we've lost him. He may be back in a second. Some good stuff there from Michael. We have got a couple of questions left. Bless him. I think he's told us his life story. We know everything.
We haven't got any questions.
Got no questions.
Watching. Yeah, we don't.
How many's watching, lads?
Huh?
How many's watching, mate? Did you say?
We had 3 or 4.
Yeah, 2 watching now. 2 people.
You might be struggling to get back. Right. Okay.
There we go.
So we're going to wrap this up with your last question.
Yeah, I know. I waffled on. I'm sorry. I like to talk.
What's your favourite? The simple one, this one.
I hope so.
You get one shot at this. What's your favourite model?
Oh, I can't. She's a porn star.
No, you don't get to do that. What's your favourite restoration? What's the one that stands above and beyond all?
I think at the moment is the Vitesse VW Squareback that I did in a 2-tone for We Miss You Opa. If you can hang on for a minute, I'll dig it out.
It is worth saying that a lot of the boys take part in various events to support each other as well. So,
where am I?
That's nice. That is, yeah.
That's nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Volkswagen 1600 or
1500? The notchback, the squareback.
1500. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Nice. Corgitos, you say?
No, Vitesse.
Oh, Vitesse. Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Every now and then you do get that model that you've done, whether it's for a challenge or whatever. You go, yeah, that's just how I imagined it would be. What I wanted it to look like. So, yeah, well done there. Here's the governor. He's back.
Sorry about that, chaps. I have to go to the loo.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. So we just
lost the internet on here, but yeah.
So
the colours for that was an inspiration again of Google Images.
Yeah,
this looks nice.
Yeah, Google Images I find is a good source of information, especially when you're looking at doing details. Because some of these, some of the castings, you want to get the, especially you want to do the backlights, get the positioning right, so you get the red and the orange in the right way around. Some castings have indicators on the side. You can add that on. Chrome work, where it starts and where it finishes, I find that's quite important on some of the cars.
Yeah,
but yeah, Google Images, good source.
Yeah.
So do you feel yourself well and truly grilled, Michael? Is there anything that you've missed out on that you want to bring up?
Look, use your imagination is to, sort of, there are plenty of people out there that will bring a car back to how it was originally. Right? That's, like I said, this is a restoration, right, into the thing. But I've done, so just a little subtlety by putting in the indicator in, as opposed to just having it all red on the back, like what Corgi has. And I've just noticed one of my jeweled headlights has fallen out. I need to glue one back in.
Oh, it's a bad restoration, that is.
So I think for me, doing them in custom, sort of like this, I think I'm getting more satisfaction doing it that way. But that's for me.
That's really Michael.
Yeah. I will say there are some vehicles out there from days gone by when you think to yourself, why the hell did he paint it that colour? But then again, we're looking at that through rose-tinted glasses because the availability of colours and metallics we've got nowadays that, wasn't available back then.
Well, yeah, you've also got to remember that these were designed and built for children.
Yes.
They were never, Dinky and Corgi never set out to in the early days, to consider people collecting them. It wasn't until later on in the 70s, late 70s and 80s that they decided that people are collecting these things. But regarding, I find if you get a Dinky toy or a Corgi toy, and you strip that thick layer of paint off that they put on to protect it for when the kids are playing with it, the amount of detail what's gone in to the molding, the original cast molding, is, for its time, it's very well done, and a lot of it is covered up by the enamel paint. So for me personally, once I stripped that off, I thought to myself, look at that, and I like to add that detail which was originally on the casting, just to sort of bring it out, to show off what the casting really started off as. Is without the thick layer of paint on it, the headlights and the badges and the grille design and stuff like this, because some guys gone to a lot of trouble to design this, measure it all up from scale, because they used to measure it up, didn't they, and then they scale it down and make the mold, spend a lot of time doing it. There was no computers to help them do it, and they do all this stuff, and I think it's nice to bring that little bit of, without overdoing it, without going on down a custom route, but keeping it original with a little bit of a tweak, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, look, you look at this Hudson Hornet. There's 56 Hudson Hornet from Dinky. Right. Now I've masked that the grill off there at the moment because we're still doing some more painting on it. Right. But there's a lot of detail on there, even on the sides. There a lot of detail, and the same thing on the back. But when they when they did these toys in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, as kids, we were using them as for our imagination. We were going on our holiday trips like we did with our parents. We went on road trips back in those days. Today, the kids, they're on computers. It's people our age, or sort of maybe the next generation below us, because so the people which are in their 40s and 50s, they'll still sort of remember the imaginations, but they're the people that have never known a life without a computer.
I saw an article today on Facebook which kind of summed it up, where somebody made a post where their son, I think Martin commented on it, where they dug up a UFO interceptor, and the guy said, "Do you know what this is?" And it was so encrusted. It broke my heart, really, because I'm a Anderson nut like. But Martin had a good idea of you could use it as a part of a diorama, because it's encrusted. And
to me, it's something like that. I mean, it is beyond restoring. It wouldn't really, unless you wanted to do it just to prove to yourself that you could do something like that. The condition that was in, it would be nice to, because to me it looked like a fossil. It looked like a fossil. And to me, to put it on a pedestal, so to speak, and keep it from rotting any further, and just display it as is next to a restored one or an original one, just to see.
It's not financially beneficial to do it. I mean, I looked at, as I said a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at doing the Thunderbird 2, and by the time I'd priced up all the parts, you're looking at £42.
Yeah.
Well, I could have brought one, a complete brand, well, not brand new, obviously, but a well-conditioned TB2 for £15.
Well, yeah, you got to yourself personally. If you was to spend like your Thunderbird 2 and spend that money and do it, and you say, yeah, I've got all the parts together, it's on my bench, I'm going to put it together, clean it all up. Yeah, look, I've achieved this, and it's a bit of self-satisfaction that you've actually done that yourself without going to buy one out and buy one, which is really, because that will bring you into the realm of, are you collecting it, or do you want to do it to restore it and then keep it? It's your own personal achievement that if you bought the parts, or you bought another donor part and built it up yourself, you've done that. You've done that. You haven't gone like a checkbook restoration, as they would call it. You haven't gone and bought one which is already done.
I mean, I've got when I first started about the other guys, I had a bucket list of, once I knew what was possible with doing restorations, I then came up with a bucket list of vehicles or models that I wanted, mainly from childhood. The stuff that I brought for me, like the John Player Special on the trailer with the load Salise, the Jerry Anderson stuff, Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds, that kind of stuff. The little cannons that you could fire matchsticks out of, all these.
Jim will just
back to when. Hi, Mother Fluffers. Good evening, Mr. James. How are you, sir? Good to see you. I mean, Luke, did you have a bucket list of stuff you wanted to start with when you first cracked off?
On the restoration?
Yeah.
No, I didn't really, PJ. I think the first car I did was a Capri that my brother gave me. That he actually found, and it just went from there. It was about it, really. Didn't really. I wanted to, that bigger scale Capri I did. I wanted to do the transit van as well, the Mark 1. I've already done one of them. We'll be doing another one soon. But I have got a couple of cars I want to do. Is Chevy Impala for a bigger scale one. and I want to do Mustang GT 500.
Don't you find now, Luke, that you're getting into it? There's a few more that you want to do.
The more
that now you started, you've done one or two, you're thinking, you know what, I want to do one of them now. I want to do one of them next. Yeah. Yeah. It does get you like it does get you like that eventually.
I've got one. I only bought it last week. It's quite an iconic car. That's going to be coming to the channel. I'm opening in about 2 weeks, but I'm just waiting for some electrical parts for it. Once that comes, I can build it. But the model itself is from the 1980s, so it's quite an old model.
Yeah.
I'll tell you now, Luke, you're going to need a bigger shed than what you've just built.
I put 2 shelves up thinking that'll be enough, but they're full already.
Especially, so when you've got a room dedicated for parts and castings, right? And then you like I moved into, we don't use the lounge room as such in this house because there's only 2 of us up here.
Yeah.
So I can take over a lounge room. Right. Like I said, your shed's not big enough. So like this here is not really what I want to, how I really want to display my cars. Right. My thing. I want to have them in a diorama situation where they look like they're doing something like what I've got here. If you're seeing that, right, that then gives the imagination a go. Where those that watch Paul Restorer and PB Pete and a lot of other channels, they're starting to make the boxes for the cars. That's nice, right? But you put them in a box, you stick them in a drawer. You're not looking at them.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So even if I buy a new car today, it's in a box. I'll put the box in a drawer, but I want to display the car.
Yeah.
Right. But again, that's me.
Right. That's something reference. Yes.
Sorry, lads. That's something I didn't realise when I got into restoring. Like, as a kid, I absolutely loved playing with cars. I think that's partly the reason why I've started restoring them, like within the last 12 months.
But there's a major difference between a collector and a restorer, because a collector might collect. He might have in his mind, I want those 10 items, whatever it might be, a book, might be a car, might be a model, and when he's collected them, that's it. It's them 10. With a restorer, you just don't stop. Well, just carry on going.
I never thought about what do they want to have done them. So as a restorer, you automatically become a collector as well.
Yeah, now, you've got no choice.
I sold some recently, and there was about 3 of them cars that I sold. I was gutted over it, really. I shouldn't have sold them, but I'm not going to sell anymore. I've learned my lesson now. That's it. I keep up.
I've
never thought of this before, but me and Martin have known each other a while now, and I've never ever asked you, Martin, what was the first vehicle you ever did? Can you remember what it was?
Yes, I can remember it. It was a total disaster. I remember when I first got into. I did it once before, many years ago. And I can't really remember what happened, but when I decided to get into it again in a serious way, before I had a YouTube channel, and I'd watched a few videos of different people, and I thought, as everybody else, I'll give that a go. I can do that. I've built this, I've done this, I've done the other, and I made a total disaster of it. It was a Safari, Corgi Safari, the yellow estate, the one with the Zulu shield on the front, on the bonnet.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what happened. I burst out all the posts to start off. I thought, that doesn't matter. I can glue that back together. That'll be okay. I stripped the paint, using paint stripper, the gel, and I hate that stuff. That was fine. That worked out all right. And then I decided, yeah, I've watched people put it in warm water, hot water, the the plastic parts to do it. Yeah. So I did that, but the water was too hot, and I don't know if you know the Citroen Safari, but it's got the piece where the back seat goes up and down and stuff like this. It completely warped the lot. It was warped and bent. I thought, oh, that was a bit hot, wasn't it? And I cracked the windscreen, drilling it out. I thought, yeah, because I've watched videos, and I went in there, Amber and Tom got me big drill, drilled out the centre rivet in the windscreen and completely shattered it in places. I thought, oh, that's no good. And then I painted it. I thought, yeah. And I carried on painting it, and I carried on painting it. And then I got finger marks in it. I thought, there you go, it'll be all right. And I still got that. I don't know where it is. I have to dig it out. And I keep it. And now and again, I look at it and I go, you bloody idiot. You know what I mean? It was a learning curve for me before I started doing videos. I mean, I did a Bedford S-cab, and drilling out the windscreens. I found that the hardest part for me.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that you kept.
Yeah, I kept it. I mean, I'm a bit of a hoarder.
This is on the fly, but I'll try and share the screen and show everybody what Martin's talking about. And I think it's just bear with me. You can confirm if that's the right one, Martin.
I can't say. Yeah, that's it. But it's the yellow version.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's the same car, but it's a yellow version. They did several different versions, and you know what? I haven't done one since. I've got them to do, but I haven't done one since.
I've got
about a dozen of them because I want to do each one. I want to do the whole thing.
I mean, I know you're a stickler for parts as well. So, did you manage to get all the skis and all that kind of stuff? Because there's a driver in there.
Yeah, but mine was a yellow Safari when it didn't have skis on it. It had like suitcases and stuff, which under tarpaulin. Yeah.
The thing with keeping the first one, or the ones that you make mistakes with it, you can see how far along you've come with it.
Well, yeah, there is that, Michael, but I just kept it. I thought, well,
yeah,
yeah. And one day when I get around to doing them, that's the only one that I don't know why. It's not a nemesis or anything like that. It's just that I look at it and go, yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Just, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll do it. One day I'll do it.
The thing is, in the back of your mind, you're saying to yourself, I've already done that one. I don't need to do it again. All right. But
yeah, I've already cut that one up. Yeah.
Variations of it. With the different colours and so forth.
I think the other thing when you first started doing some of the models that, wherever it might be, I'm going to ask Laz, because let me just ask Laz as well. What was your first model, Laz?
A Matchbox Super King Volvo Estate.
Okay.
Terrible.
Let me just.
I didn't use the tap or the rivet. I just glued it back together. The plastic went white because of the super glue. It was okay. It was a simple car, but that was my first one to do as a die cast, because I used to do plastic model kits back in the end of 1990s.
Well, did you video that, or was it just a?
Oh, no. That the mobile phone just came on, so yeah. I had a big brick in that time. The Nokia. I think it was 2010, the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used in your pocket.
We got 10. Yeah.
I used to airbrush mine when I first started. And I went from airbrushing to aerosols, because to be honest with you, because I intended putting one out a week, I found airbrushing was a bit slow for me to get on with it. This here I've got here is the first one that I ever put on video. It's a Marcus Volvo. This one was the first one that ever I did on YouTube. This one.
Nice.
There's no detail on the engine. Yeah, no detail on the front lights. Well, it's weird, this camera. A little bit on the back. You get the wrong way all the time on this. Yeah, on there. And I did skinny over it. I did the stripes on the front. I actually painted them on. I painted them on with airbrush. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the very first one I did. I'm pretty sure it's the first one. I'll go back right to the beginning of mine. Yeah. Airbrushed it. Yeah.
Well, I'll go. Martin Dare scared me to death back in the day because I thought I daren't put anything on the screen. They're just going to take the Michael. Well, excuse the phrase, Michael. But I'll go and fetch the first one that I did. So talk amongst yourselves for a sec.
Well, the first vehicle I did on YouTube was a Dinky Toys Volvo Estate. Was the one that I did. And it was only after I painted it blue that I found out that supposedly the orange version is supposed to be a rare version. But I don't know how true that is. And I go, oh, crap. But then again, I've got a Dinky El Camino that has the...
I like that, Michael.
That has the rare, sort of, I think the yellow interior is supposed to be rare, I think, because they're usually all red interiors. And
what have you done with that?
It. But I did paint it back into its original colours. And I'll just unplug that. Because I made different variations of it. That's the one that's supposed to be the rare one with the yellow interior. And the others have all the red, and I've turned one into a fifth wheeler with a caravan on the back. One of those. And I've got another 4 lurking around somewhere, and I think there's a couple still with Martin over there, and there's also the Lone Star versions of the El Caminos. That's still got to do. All right, the Master's back. Hopefully he's got his time.
I was just going to say, when I was scared to death about putting my first video live because I thought they're going to rip me to shreds. And
I remember your first videos.
Yeah, this was going back when there was myself, J-Mo, Martin, back in the Beefeater days. But anyway, so the first thing I did was a Lone Star unit, which was that. And I thought I was being really inventive because I put a BP sticker on the side and the tray at the back. Tray, I don't know what you call it, but there's a step at the back. And I painted that silver. I thought, I'm going to real big extremes here. Like, I didn't even do the grill. That's all it's all white. So it was something. So it was something that basic to go into something a hell of a lot more complicated, and doing this kind of thing. Making your own stickers, getting replacement parts, painting the figures, putting aerials on, and all this kind of. And it was just the confidence building, over a period of time. So, but I'm so proud that I did that one little unit, and it doesn't have to be complicated to kick you off.
No, you can make it as easy as you want or as hard as you want. At the end of the day.
Yeah,
I'm still twitchy about doing the Batmobile and the Joe 90 car and things like that.
You're going to, wouldn't you?
Projects they are.
Yeah.
See the Batmobile. You know, I have two Batmobiles. One is the original, was it 67 version with the gold hubs and the flame that goes in and out. Right. Yeah. I've got the screen from Shane holding me out for that one. Then I've got the later version that has the tow hook on the back and the silver hubs. That one needs a new screen in it, which I got from Shane. But from what I've seen on other people's channels, they're a bit complicated. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Just like the gold Corgi DB5, the James Bond vehicle, that's a little bit out of my comfort zone with all the mechanical moving parts which are inside of it on that. But in saying that, I'm not scared of the Dinky Toys AEC Red Arrow bus. Right? Martin's done it, Crapwood Nick's done it. Paul Restorer just recently done one, and they all had difficulty with the doors when reassembling. And as I mentioned to Paul Restorer's channel, there's a very simple trick to it. Very, very simple. I came across it by accident because I had the same frustrations as everybody else, pulling it apart 50, 60 times, throwing it across the room. Right, and then sort of using sticky tape to hold the friggin' doors together, right, and then pulling the sticky tape off. Oh yeah, I thought it fitted. No, it didn't because the door fell out again. But there is a very simple trick to it, and I'm not going to reveal it here. And I'm not saying
after all that build up.
That is all on the edge of a pizza.
Well, thanks for that.
That's the thing. This is the only in a long time that I've actually bought parts, and I've got them from Clifford's because I found Clifford's, which Martin put me onto. His parts seem to be very good. The doors that I got for the AEC, I've got to do nothing to them. I don't have to file them. There's no flashing on them. I've done a test fit on them. Beautiful. They fit wonderful.
And also his decals, you don't need to cut them out. They're already pre-cut.
Yeah, I want some of them from there, the decals. Clifford's.
No, I'm not going to dig my buses out. It'll take too long. Like I said, we've been here we've done 3 hours.
It usually goes on a bit. Michael, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of all of us, thanks. We've had some technical difficulties and I know it's ridiculous o'clock in Australia. So we love you to death. Thanks for doing this for us, mate. It means a lot to us.
That's all right.
Coming up next week.
I still love you guys.
Say again.
I still love you guys.
It's been a bit twitchy just recently, hasn't it? Coming up next week. No, not next week. The following week, we are going to be starting the first of our topics. So we're going to try and alternate between having a guest and then talking about a topic. So thanks to Michael this week. In a fortnight's time, we're going to be talking about how we start. And this is going to be called The Model. And this will be about purchases, where you get your stuff from, Facebook, eBay, these kind of things. I don't know if we're getting feedback from somebody at the minute. So look forward to that. We've got to put together a bit of a plan on what we're going to talk about, but that's what we do our pre-production meetings for. All a bit technical, isn't it? It sounds like Spielberg here. And then the fortnight after that, we've got our good friend Paul James from Pip My Diecast, who's that should be an event in itself. Looking forward to that.
Have you got a translator?
We've got some feedback. I don't know what's coming.
It's me. It is. Sorry, Joe. Keep ringing me phone.
That's it. Yeah, stop now. No worries, Luke. Don't worry about it. we've already come up with a list of topics we're going to talk about. So we're going to be talking about the model, which will be the first one. It's not the Kraftwerk song, by the way. It's talk about different models, how you get them, what we collect, what models we like to work on, this kind of thing. Then we're going to move on to disassembly, which is an art form. Prepping for paint. So how we clean our models, what tools we use, this kind of thing. Time for a new coat. That's going to be an interesting one because we've got a good mix here of, now that Luke's joined us as well, people who use airbrushes, who use rattle cans, and we've got Kev who hand paints a lot of his banger racing cars as well. Finishing touches. Finishing touches will cover decals, spare parts that we've had to either purchase or 3D print. Then towards the end of the year, we've got 3 left. Scale modelling. We decided, I was talking to Martin and the boys, and we think that we should give an episode towards scale modelling because it's not just about diecast. Hopefully we can get Les from Mods Models on at some point, talk about we may have to do a pre-recorded version for that because Les is out on a Saturday night most nights. He's got a job. Then when we get to November, we're going to be talking about other kits, which was an interesting one that cropped up when we tried to put these topics together. So we're going to talk about the Lego builds. Any wooden kit build. Martin does some marvellous Temu kits that I'd really like to highlight because I wanted to. I'm still going to get one for my dad, Martin. Now he's out of hospital. So look at some of the stuff that Martin's doing other than diecast that people don't realise. I'd like to highlight that kind of thing. And then to round it up at the end of the year, we're going to talk about our top 10 tools. And that's not just slating anybody off because you think they're a tool. No, these are your top 10 tools. So not necessarily what you started with, but it might be what you've got now. So we may have a guest on. It may be Michael. Michael is. We may even go for the full. We may go for the full 10. It may be 10 for. I've just thought about it. It might be 10 for 10. We'll try and get on as many people on that last episode to talk about the top 10 tools they use. I can see now it's going to be a disaster waiting to happen, but we may give it a go. We'll have to see. So if anybody...
it's all a bit of fun, isn't it, at the end of the day? We're only here for a bit of fun.
We're here for a bit of fun, whether we have 3 viewers or 300 viewers. I know that
it doesn't matter.
We enjoy it immensely. We enjoy our Friday nights when we all get together on Facebook like this. It's a little bit more wild, but this is a little bit more controlled than usual.
That's an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah. So
why JMO said a bit harsh, Les? No disassemble, Stephanie. Disassemble, Stephanie.
So our thanks to the likes of JMO, to Mick, to Play Apps, to Millie that are in the chat, to I think Mick. I think I mentioned Mick. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat. It means a lot to us. It makes it so that this isn't a pointless exercise. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Laz. Thank you to Martin. And thank you to Luke. And God willing, we'll see you in a fortnight's time with the where do we get our models from topic, the model. So from me, PJ, at Midlife Models, from Laz at Lazi-low Collectibles, Martin
good night,
at
guys. Thank you.
Good night from me and a good night from
Outlaws.
Good night, guys.
Michael, God bless you, Governor. Gravesend Australia Diecast Salvage. I spelt it all right. Got it all out in one go.
Salvage.
Salvage, yeah. The Hungarian version. All right, we'll see you soon, guys. Thanks for joining us, and catch you later. Cheers.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.